Are we rolling? Hold on. I'm going to be with you in a bit. Got to do the classic. Stir your coffee. Take a slurp of coffee. Ah, my wife makes great coffee. My name is Ed King, aka Rusty. Sparky can't be with us right now. Don't know if he's ever going to actually be with us anymore. He's off, way off, in another geographical location, but perhaps I can email one of these videos to him. But he pretty much shares the same sort of views I share. We used to do videos together. Yeah, this is another one of the famous, okay, not so famous, amateur, very amateur, dumpster diver PC reclamation videos that is non-monetized, so I can say what I like. I can even talk about COVID if I like. And if you are so fortunate as to happen upon this, I don't know how the algorithms would allow that for you, but anyway, I don't really care, but it's out there. I'm putting it on YouTube and places so that people can learn how to keep hanging on to their PCs, you know, especially in these troubled times with the economy the way it is. Most of the time, you can keep your PC, pardon me, running very well, smoothly, effectively. You don't have to throw it away. If you do dispose of your PC, I recommend that you do it very responsibly. There's so much e-waste going on in the world today, and so I'm just trying to encourage people to hang on to their computer or make it, you know, work more efficiently so they can pass it on to somebody else and they'll enjoy using the computer for many years to come. And so that's the theme of my presentations, and I have all kinds of tips and tricks and things to show you. And yeah, I MacGyver some things, or I have some redneck approaches to it, but you'll see if you're acquainted with my other videos, you get the gist of what I'm about and what I do. And some of this stuff is a little advanced. Other stuff is, you know, pretty straightforward and very basic. But there's a little bit of something for everybody, I think, in these videos that I make. At least I'm hoping. And I'm just trying to pass on my knowledge of PC building for 20 years to other people. And I think this is like a part 2 of my maintenance series. Yeah. I don't have COVID. It's just that time of the year, you know. I was tested. I don't have it. So please put up with my coughing if you can. I'll try not to cough. But look at these flowers. Isn't this beautiful? I have to show these flowers. See, this is why this is an amateur video. I can show you flowers. It's not, you know. These things, they are so, I mean, the whole living room is filled with the fragrance of these flowers. And they are, wow, they're overwhelming. They're immense. They were given by a very beloved friend to my wife for her birthday. And, wow. They're part, well, what did you get your wife? Well, of course, I'm a techie. I got my wife a pneumatic digital toaster, a $150 fancy schmancy, whatever it's called, because she wanted it, you know, and some famous brand name anyway. It's funny because all you do is you just throw the toaster in the slot. There's no lever to slam down, right? It just automatically senses that there's toast in it, and it just goes like an elevator, takes it down. Yeah, I know, it's really crazy. You know, hey, she liked it. She wanted it. I bought it for her. And, well, I got her a lot of other things too. What I do actually is I just buy her presents throughout the year. And I just keep saying, happy birthday, happy birthday. That way I never forget her birthday. She could never accuse me of forgetting her birthday. See, smart tip, guys. Do that, just buy your wife presents out of the blue, because, well, you see, my wife is a Virgo. They say Virgos can't be surprised. So this is how you surprise them. You buy them presents when it's not their birthday and you tell them happy birthday. Then you surprise them. Ha! Anyway, and also you keep your marriage. Anyway, always appreciate your wives, guys. It's a very important little off the side domestic PC builder tip there. All right, so this is about maintenance, PC maintenance. And what I've been doing is, you know how they say, like, the mechanic's car is never fixed and, all that sort of thing, like the painter's house is always in need of a coat, that sort of thing, because you're so busy doing it for others and fixing things for others, you never really get around to doing your own, and yet you're the one that's supposed to be setting the standard, the example. Well, I'm no different here. I confess, I have neglected my workstation for almost a decade when it comes to like a thorough cleaning and maintenance and that sort of thing. Now, this is just one more example how an old PC does not need to be chucked, doesn't need to be shelved, doesn't need to be disposed of. But my workstation, it lasted me, and it ran fine, for 10 years. Until I broke it open one day and I was like, what is that brown furry stuff growing on my PC? Maybe I'll include some shots here. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to let my daughter do the editing though, and she might put some stills in of this brown fur that was growing on my heat sink for my cooler, the fins. It was growing all over the fins. It's like, it wasn't dust. It was fur. It was like the dust had been piling so much that it was turning into fur. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is what I mean. Folks, there's ways of cleaning this out. You can use a toothbrush, and you can use an air compressor. Now, I know a lot of people say don't use an air compressor because you can get water in your components with an air compressor. Not if you use a water filter. Get a good filter and put it on your air compressor, and it will give you the nice dry air that you need, and any humidity thereafter wouldn't be any worse than the humidity that's in your natural air anyway. And if you're actually blasting out your PC like that with air, the thing there is you've got the pressure that you can't get with canned air. And so you got to be careful, because you can blow out components or something if you're not careful, how close you're putting the nozzle to things. But it really is efficient for cleaning. And I've used it before in the past. Now, you're going to do this at your own risk if you do it. But I do it on mine. I won't do it with a client because, except without their express consent. And even then, I will say, listen, if something gets blown off the motherboard, if I blow a chip off the motherboard with the air pressure, I'm not liable, right? And then usually they'll go, well, then don't do it, right? So I don't. So I just don't. Really. I'd rather not for clients. But for yourself, especially those older PCs that, you are thinking, you should just dispose of or whatever. Hey, well, you're not losing anything because you're thinking of disposing it anyway. But really, the odds of that happening are so minimal. The 120 psi, you could whatever, or 60 psi or whatever you use there, with a little air compressor, a painter compressor, you're good to go. You're good to go. It cleans much more efficiently than canned air, and I think it's actually more responsible than a bunch of empty cans of canned air or empty cans. After you blow, what do you do with the empty cans after canned air? Well, you make more waste, right? Okay, so I use an air compressor with a water filter on it, and I think I've got that in one of my older videos, but I'll get to the point. You know, I'm kind of like, Jay and Jay's 2 cents rambles on sometimes, or Bill Zoid, these YouTube giants. Well, I'm no different. I ramble on about things. Got a million things on my mind. So to the point, I'm going to bring, now what we're featuring here is, well, I'll show you. I'll bring it over here. I'll pull my chair aside, and I'll get the camera all zoomed in on it. Gotta walk over here to get it. The thing weighs 82 pounds. Whoops. With all the drives in it. Fortunately, I don't have all the drives in it. It's still pretty heavy. It's okay, what we're featuring. What are we featuring? Well, we're featuring a PC. And I'm going to get the camera pointed over to it. Well, look at that, eh? Look at that. It's huge. It's a big mama. It's once upon a time, they came out with this PC called it's a Thermaltake GT level 10, and I'll take it out of I'll take the camera out of the tripod for a moment just to give you a walkabout, and then we'll readjust things. All right, and it's see, I got to really walk backward to get it all in the frame here. Hold on. It's huge. I mean, it is a huge case, and I'll probably set it up to show you how I got it set up and how I use it, and the various features that I use, but it's feature packed. It's sporting a X99 EWS USB 3.1 motherboard, which is now probably 3.2. It's got the teal, the next generation up, USB 3.2, I guess it's called now. Anyway, but you're going to see some odd features that you won't see on very many other computers or computers of this size or this model. Okay, so what am I going to do here? I'm going to try to give you a walkabout. So I have all the filters off of it and the fascia off the front of it. Okay, I took all those out and I cleaned, so everything's clean now. I cleaned that fur, all that really packed dust off of it. I put in a new fan here on the side, and I put a new fan here on the Noctua cooler. This is, I think, an industrial type cooler. This is one of the few coolers I could actually, Noctua coolers I could use. Couldn't use the NHD 15, I think it's called, the real popular one, 15S, because I have 2 banks of RAM here, 128 gigabytes of RAM. This is one of the Corsair fan coolers, and I'll show you how all that works and everything. So I finally have it all cleaned out and all blasted out. It's too bad I should have put more better lighting in here so I could show you. And what I may do is flip it on its side to show you the components and try to set up the stand, the tripod, so I can point to some of the more interesting parts of it and what I did with this build. This is a very unique build. I don't think there's anyone who has a Thermaltake level 10 GT, I think it's called. Hold on, let me walk around. No, it's not on the side anymore because I've got the side panels off too. Got all the panels off. I think it's, level 10 GT. I think after owning it for almost 10 years, I knew what kind of case it was, right? But there it is. I mean, I work with so many different computers all the time, but anyway, and there you see my beautiful Corsair Platinum HX 1000i power supply, which is enough for my needs. Trust me, this thing runs more drives than our letters in the alphabet, and I would have ran out of drive letters if not for the fact that some of these drives are in RAID 10 and RAID 1, and so, you know, and RAID 0 and RAID. I think, okay, hold on, I have to move this tripod while I talk to you, because I have to make sure that this is, you know, living up to its name, that it is indeed an amateur video, not a professional video. Down, down, down. Oh, okay, hold on. Unscrew the mechanism that allows it. Oh yeah, sure, kill the whole thing. And yeah, there we are for that. All right. Yes, amateur video. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is I'm going to flip this thing on its side to show you or focus a little bit more on the components and the cleaning job. And I think I have some pictures of when it was real ugly, if you really want to see them, real gross. I mean, this thing was so filled with dust. Don't wait 10 years. Don't waste decades. Don't waste 5 years to do maintenance on your PC. You should actually pop the panel off your PC once every 6 months, vacuum it out with a rubber tipped vacuum cleaner hose. They have them, you know, and just gently, don't use a metal tip. A plastic tip might work, you know, and just suck all the dust out of it, you know, especially if you're like in a dusty area. This PC used to be situated with the back toward the balcony door where I used to live, and I think what it was doing is really drawing a lot of the dust inside. That the place where I lived before was, there was a lot of dust in the air. It was anyway. I'm not there. I don't live there anymore. But it was really drawing a lot of dust in. I think that's where I was getting most of the dust from. But anyway, yeah, don't wait years to do this. Do this about once every 6 months. It'll be very little dust if you do it once every 6 months to, well, depending where you live. If you live by a gravel road, well, you might still have a lot of dust. But anyway, vacuum it out with a vacuum gently, and you'll be okay. And you won't have to use a air compressor on it like I had to. But that's how bad it was. I actually had to use the air compressor on it. It was just, oh, it was horrible. So, okay, well, I think I did this in one of my other videos, but I'm just going to do this again for those who haven't seen my other videos or won't see my other videos. What we got here is, I wanted to show you this because, I don't think it's even going to show, you know, I don't have the lighting for it. Oh, it's too bad. And, you know, during the daytime, there's so much interruptions going on that I can't even properly, it's too bad. What I wanted to show you, but it's in I think my first video of my maintenance video of this particular computer, is how flat all the wiring is at the back. You want to keep your wiring flat, and so this is really well done. The side panel pops on without any issue, without any problem. I wanted to show you also how the over here, it's pretty dark. I'll get my flashlight. That's what I'll do. I'll get my flashlight, because this is, after all, an amateur video. See if this makes a difference. Okay, flashlight's a little low, but right there, do you see that? This is a makeshift connection using USB terminals for, and here, see, with the shrink wrap, okay, and here for a fan, all right, so that I could actually do a Y splice. There's another one somewhere down in here. A Y splice, yeah, that's over here. I don't know, camera's not seeing it. Over there, right here. Oh, move my amateur video camera. Okay, right here and here. For the Corsair band controller, which is really a joke. I don't even use the Corsair software because it's that much of a joke. Corsair, in my opinion, should just stick to cases and power supplies, what they're good at. And maybe RAM, if they still actually have good RAM. I don't know, because that's another story in itself that I've recently experienced with Corsair. That maybe Corsair should just stick to cases. I don't know. But times are changing, right? You know, and this is what you get for being a brand name fanboy, Ed. Rusty. So that's the deal on that end, okay? So I'm going to show you now. I'm going to flip this on its side, but that modification was done deliberately because Corsair's great band controller did not work correctly for running two of the RAM fans. So let me show you RAM fans. Let me show you what a RAM fan is. Well, first I'll flip this over and then I'll show you what a RAM fan is, okay? So I had to do some modification, make a Y splitter so that it could run both RAM fans. And eventually I decided that since it died on me, again, the software was just horrible. Corsair software leaves a lot to be desired, by the way. Yeah, I'm really dissing Corsair. I'm not happy with Corsair. Unless Corsair is willing to give me a full refund, and I don't care anymore. I'm not going to fight for it. I will tell the truth about Corsair products, and Corsair makes good computer cases. I'll say that. The old power supplies, my Platinum HX1000i, it was just, it's awesome. It's great. It's proven itself. My Corsair Dominator RAM, good Samsung B-die RAM, has never given me an issue, has proven itself to be more stable than most RAM I've ever owned or used in my life. But times have changed. And I have to leave that for another issue, or another time, another video, where I can whine and rant about how Corsair has so diminished people in their quality. But if anything, Corsair should probably stick to making computer cases, because they make some of the best computer cases going. But I like this thermal take. Now, and it's not without its issues too, and I'll show you some of its issues. But first of all, what is a RAM fan? Because some of you don't know. Well, sometimes RAM gets really hot. So they came up with stuff like this. And it sits over top your fan, your RAM, and the two fans blow directly onto your RAM heat sinks to keep your RAM nice and cool. That's the theory anyway. Now, I'm going to show you in my computer case what I had to do to keep this on. First of all, I had to take the bottom bracket off where it clamps on to underneath the fan, because there wasn't enough clearance between the RAM fan and the GPU. Okay, it was rubbing. I don't like that. It's bad. Okay, and second of all, the heat pipe on the X99 EWS USB 3.1 motherboard was interfering with the bracket, so it couldn't even fit over top anyway. So it basically, they hung there, and they would dangle, and they would you know, kind of they would jiggle and go crooked and everything. So I finally got annoyed by that, and I tried to use some glue right on the heatsink to hold it on. And first I tried some sticky like black tar, and that kind of looked gross and didn't hold too good. And then I tried some Gorilla Glue, and that didn't work out too good, because here's the thing. Those heat sinks really do get hot, and they cooked the glue, and then the glue got brittle, and then bang, this thing fell off again. So, you know, Corsair doesn't really make these things anymore. I mean, the concept is good, but it wasn't very flexible, and you know, that's the thing. Half-baked ideas, you know, I mean, maybe a good idea, but it's still a half-baked idea. In most cases, and I know, I read the complaints, these RAM fans didn't work out too good in most motherboards, because they never thought about, you know, the motherboard design, really how it was going to fit. And it was very limited to certain situations, especially when you want to, you know, do something like 128 gigabytes of RAM. But there it is. You know, I won't go on about it. I'll try not to ramble on like some of these PC guys do. Ha ha ha. But yeah, so you don't have to worry about that anymore, because they don't make it anymore. But it still works well. It's just a half-baked idea. Sometimes you have to be prepared to do a little modifying. Now, speaking of modifying, I wanted to show you something. And I may have to take the camera off the tripod, because this is, after all, an amateur video. So here we go. Moving over to another end. You will see right here, what is that funny pink thing? Yes, it is what it looks like it is, folks. That is a rubber eraser. Now here's one of your redneck tips, people. If you're looking for a damping mechanism, rubber is a good damping mechanism. You can pick up racers for a song, and this racer actually holds this fan right in the side here. And you can see there's some pretty large holes here and here, and they're all underneath the fan. I'm not going to pull it out for you, because I went through all the hassle of putting it all together. And it holds that fan in nicely. See? Spins just fine. So there's not too much pressure on the side. Always check that. And that's one of the new fans I put in. I tested it already. It works. Yeah, I have to turn the PC on now after all this cleanup, right? And it's going to be underneath a black mesh, so the rubber eraser isn't going to show. It's the black side mesh with the filter is going to be over top of this, but it holds the fan in place and acts as a damping mechanism. Technically, I could just pop this out because there's no screws holding it, but once the covering is on, it ain't gonna go anywhere anyway. There's no place for it to go. So it's fine that way. It works that way. It's tried and tested. It's proven itself for years. What it does is it blows nice, cool intake air over top over here you'll see, right here and here, where you see 0 and 3. Okay, there are 4 Velociraptor hard drives in there in RAID 10, and this is keeping those hard drives cool that way. Plus, of course, there's also intake fans inside the actual RAID cage blowing, but this is more of, you know, a generalized air keeping things cool from the side. Also for my fan controller, USB controller, and other components to keep things cool, you know, there. But it's more of an air intake for this area. And technically there was not supposed to be a fan in there, but I saw that there was enough clearance for a fan in there, so I kind of, you know, spiffed it up a bit with a fan. But it actually does serve a practical function, and I've tested it and tried it, and it really does work. It helps with the airflow, and it gives me more side, you know, in airflow into the case. because I do definitely have enough with this push-pull configuration on a Noctua. Notice these are not Noctua fans, these are sickle fans, which tend to actually, they run fast. They really run fast. There's per my CPU cooler, so they really spin the RPMs. And we've got one here, one here, one here. So it's a real shotgun configuration for output, and that's where the exhaust fan is. So from the side, it's intake, an output exhaust, and then there's this huge fan for the top exhaust. And beautiful temperatures. I get like 42 degrees, and that's overclocked at 42. Listen, if I got 42 degrees centigrade at overclock, I'm not going to be fussing about getting cooler temps. That's good enough for me. Now I wanted to show you a few things here, and I don't know if the camera can really point out to them too well. But there's my TPU switch, and you'll notice I've got one missing space. Now, Jay from Jay's 2 Cents, he did a video where there's one missing card slot, one space, and it's that big one. It's that one for the graphics card, and he did a thing about that, because they're, making all these paper sales on GPUs that you can't get. And that's still going on, by the way. The Bitcoin miners have really messed things up for us PC builders, and we're not very happy about it, and I'm not happy about all the price gouging that's going on. But I'm kind of in a similar situation with this one slot, this one empty card, and here it is. Where is it, people? Where is USB 4? Where is it? It was supposed to be here 2 years ago, and it's still not here. Where is our USB 4, people? I have my slot here waiting for USB 4. There is no USB 4, so I'm leaving that open for whatever, if ever, they get to USB 4. But in the meantime, I do have, what you have to see here, is your Thunderbolt, your Thunderbolt 3 card setup, and that's this card right here, and it runs from my graphics card, right? And I have tried it, and I have to say I am very impressed with the speeds that Thunderbolt 3 offers, but USB 4 is going to be even faster. So man likes his options, right? And so that's what that is for me. Now, as you can see here, I've got more USB 3.0 configuration. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 USB, actually it's 3.1, I believe, that one offers, okay? And I've got the, the faster USB 3 as well. And I've got USB 3C. So, I'm kind of good that way with USB. On the top here, I've already explained, I've got my Thunderbolt. The sound that this motherboard provides, the Crystal Sound 2, you can probably see that down there, way down at the bottom anyway. Down up there, you see my finger pointing kind of up toward the top of where my fingernail is. That says Crystal Sound 2. The sound on this motherboard is really impressive. I have to say, ASUS did a really good job on this motherboard with the sound. I don't know how many years ago, well, when was it anyway? Back in 2012, 14, when was this motherboard released? Anyway, so, but it's still a good motherboard. Underneath the heatsink, I am sporting a, and I said this in one of my former videos, so some of you know, some of you watched it, some of you actually keep up, is an Intel 6900K, I believe it is, or is it an X? I can't remember. But anyway, it's good enough to be an X, let me tell you. It's an octa-core, and it really is good, and it overclocks like no tomorrow. It's really nice. But because I am using air, I'm not using water cooling, I don't want to overclock this thing much over 4 gigahertz because, you know, that's the way it is. But that's my own personal policy. If I want to go over 4 gigahertz, normally, now I made one exception with a newer AMD chip. It's doing 4.4 on stock cooling, by the way. And it seems to be running just fine and stable that way, so I'm leaving it. Anyway, now this is my LSI. Well, okay, I always have to qualify. This replaced my LSI RAID card, and it's a much faster card, and it was made by the company, I still think Broadcom is making them, but it's called Abengoa, I believe. And this is for my other RAID 10 array up here. This is a great card. I'm so glad I bought this card. So I've got a breakout cable running to this RAID cage here, but up here, and here we do, we rednecked it, we MacGyvered her. You can see again the 0123 or 0123 configuration on the breakout cable. Those are SSDs. They are early days SSDs, the Western Digital Blues. I think I'm running maybe 2 terabytes there, but probably 1 terabyte of usable storage. And yeah, because I like to be able to move like my videos and stuff like that fast when I do with them, and I do video rendering and stuff like that too, eh? So that's that for that. Now here you can see my Gorilla Glue and my black tar. I cleaned off most of it, but it really doesn't matter because that RAM fan I showed you, where's that RAM fan? I'll reach over here. The RAM fan. The RAM fan is, yes, their new meaning of fanboy. The Corsair RAM fan is going to go over top that anyway, so it won't be seen. And remember, they're heat sinks. It's not, you know, it's cosmetic more than anything else. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to try this thermal resistant type of silicone and see if I can hold the fan on that way. I don't know what else to do. It's just, it was a bad idea. Corsair, you should have thought it through how you're going to attach the fans on. I did have them once attached with stabilized with zip ties, believe it or not, because that was, hey, it worked. But you know, when you want to clean your thing, then you got to cut the zip ties again, and it just gets to be annoying after period of time. So I'm not doing that anymore. It does, the case does stay cold with this system. It does stay nice and cool. It does work well, and so I'm very happy with it. This thermal take unit, this build that I made, I really did. I did a lot of modifications on this. There, down there is my 1 terabyte Intel NVMe, and on this card here I'm running a Western Digital Black, the fast one. There are 2, and I was very careful to make sure that I got the this is my fastest NVMe. I mean, this will actually, you can't get much faster than this unless you're going to go with the Samsung's top of the line stuff, which is an arm and a leg. It's so expensive. That is a fast NVMe. Western Digital really did well with their NVMe, their line of NVMe, and I recommend Western Digital NVMe Black. The Black is really good. If you want fast, affordable NVMe. There's my plug for Western Digital, because I really diss Western Digital a lot when it comes down to their hard drives. I highly advise never to ever buy a mechanical hard drive from Western Digital. They almost have like, they're the hard drive with the kick me sign on the back. By the time you get it, there's probably already something wrong with it, you know, because it just takes one bump, one jostle, and that mechanical drive is gone. Seagate isn't much better, but they're a little bit better mechanical hard drives. And here's the caveat. Unless you're going to buy enterprise drive, because if you're going to buy an enterprise drive, you're going to buy, you know, $300 mechanical hard drive. Well, that's got to be covered with a pretty good warranty, and if it isn't, don't buy it. You know, but I'm sure Western Digital. Well, I shouldn't say sure because I've had them go on me as well, but they'll cover it at least, you know. But mechanical hard drives, what am I talking about? Okay, all right. So I've got another fan strapped into here, and this was done with zip ties, and it really is good for drawing in the air through the hard drives, because there's another fan here that also helps draw in the air, so it kind of adds to the push-pull configuration sort of dealio. And then of course these are my slots for my sleds for my other drives. As I said to you before, it really does work more drives than there are letters in the alphabet, and I'm not kidding. I'm not even joking, because then there are also my external drives, and that just finishes it off right away. Put on the external drives, and I've got over 26 hard drives that this thing is running, and running well, I might add, and running well. And that's why I just never really bothered to do the maintenance on it, because it was running well and I was enjoying using it so much that I didn't bother. Here's another little modification. Down in here, I don't know if you can see, but my finger, hold on, I'll tell you what, I'll put the camera down just momentarily, like, I don't know, how about right here, how about right there, and I'll shine, because this is cute. Asus came up with these little fans that you can get for your Tough series. I think it's Sabertooth. There are other ones too. Anyway, and these little fans, I've got this little fan. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to shine a light on it. Little tiny fan right there, and little tiny fan, a square boxy looking thing. It's right in front of the heatsink on that Avanggo card. So I got air blowing directly through the heatsink on the Avanggo or LSI or Broadcom, whatever have you, RAID card, and it really keeps things nice and cool, and you know, extends the life of your card. And that little fan, boy, I tell you, it works. I've tested it, and it makes a difference on the heatsink. You can actually touch the heatsink, and it won't burn your finger. Take the fan away and run it again, and oh my goodness, the thing can get hot enough to burn your finger. So there we go. We tested it, tried and tested. Okay, so just saying that, you know, this is another little modification that I did, and it works well. Even though it looks silly, it works great. Now most of this, because it's a thermal take level 1 GT by design, and my lens got caught right in my foot of my case, because it's this type of case, all this area is covered, and all you can see when you put the side cover on is this clear plexiglass window that shows what kind of cooling you have on the side. And you really have to look for more if you want, you know, look down the side window, like really leer at it to look at anything more, because this isn't all clear. And it's got a big side intake fan on the door, which I'm not going to go pull out for you right now, but lots of airflow, super airflow, and even more airflow with my modifications with this, and with the fan down in here, and my little fan in there, Okay, and there was nothing wrong with the thermal take fan here, but I thought at least have one Noctua fan, you know, in here, since I put the scythe fans in here. You know what, I have to say those Cooler Master scythe fans have served me well. The only reason I put a new one in here is because I had a thought. When in a push-pull configuration, now here's another tip that maybe some of you never thought of. The age of the fan. Always good to have one fan newer than the other, because that way if one fan dies, odds are the newer fan will still keep running, and then you'll still have something going and, you know, keeping your system cool so that you can replace the old fan, you know, when you're ready, and you still have at least something for airflow should they fail. If they're both the same age and off, you know, the same factory on the same Friday night, you know, when they finally fail or whatever, right? They could both fail at the same time. They could burn out very close to each other. You don't want that. So have one newer than the other. You know, that's my advice anyway. Take it or leave it. You know, I'm not telling anybody, or I'm not a dictator. But anyway, there it is. This GeForce GTX has served me well. I'm not even. That's it. It's a like a marriage made in heaven. I realize that they got, what, the 3090 and the 3080 and all this other stuff out there. Look, this is a workstation. I don't need anything state-of-the-art. And I'm certainly not going to pay the gouging prices for video cards. In fact, everybody, gamers, I feel sorry for you. And everybody, PC builders, we should really, you know, pull the, what do they call it when you refuse to buy anymore? Really, we should. We should do that. We should say, listen, NVIDIA, we don't like your price gouging. If you want to go and pay Bitcoin miners and get their money, if you're and you don't care about us, guess what? We're not buying your cards anymore. That's what we should be doing. We should boycott them. Boycott these price gouging graphics card manufacturers and just find ways of going with old cards and, you know, just snub them, because they're snubbing you. They're snubbing you for Bitcoin miners and saying, oh, if you want it, well, you're going to have to pay 3 times the retail manufacturer's list price to get it, right? They're snubbing you. And don't buy that line. We're not doing it to you. Bitcoin miners are doing it to you because they're selling to the Bitcoin miners. Okay? All right? And they're doing it because they know they can get the money, and they know that if they jack up the price, they can get the price, get you to even pay more. So here's the deal. Boycott these big companies. I don't care who they are. AMD, NVIDIA, boycott them. Find ways of buying old used video cards off eBay or, you know, whatever, and be happy with that. Work with that. Yeah, I believe that if enough gamers do this, if enough PC builders do this, if enough people do this, and just leave it to these mass production boycott buyers, I think somebody might wake up in these corporations and go, hey, listen, we are missing a big chunk of the market. But that's my idea. You know, take it or leave it again. Okay, so really wanted to show you what it had, what it's doing, what all the features are. That's my inside of my case.